Hawkins has plenty of monsters, but the first one didn't crawl out of the Upside Down. This one wore a badge, and her name was Connie Frazier, a government agent who thought human lives were just paperwork. Connie's job was simple.
Hey, can I help you?
Hi, you must be Benny Hammond.
I'm afraid I am. I'm afraid we're closed for the evening, too. Should try back tomorrow morning.
Connie Frazier, Social Services.
Social services. My apologies.
Keep the experiments quiet. If that meant killing people, so be it. She didn't lose sleep over it. When 11 escaped the lab, Connie sent her men after her like she was a stolen asset. And when Benny Hammond, a diner owner with more heart than sense, fed the girl a burger, Connie knew how to solve that problem. She spent the rest of season 1 chasing kids, silencing witnesses, and pretending it was all for national security. Then came the night at Hawkins Middle School. Connie thought she was still in control, but she wasn't. 11 finally stopped running and decided to show who was really in control. So she turned Connie's brain into part of the debris. It was over in seconds. Jason Carver was Hawkins' golden boy.
I think I can speak for all of us when I say it's been a tough year for Hawkins. Want something, freak?
Prick.
Captain of the basketball team, perfect hair, perfect smile. He had everything until he didn't. When his girlfriend Chrissy died, Jason didn't look for truth. The idea of a monster from another world didn't fit his version of reality. But a satanic cult? That made sense to him. He became the voice of Hawkins's hysteria, the 1980s at its worst. Jason turned his grief into a crusade. He rallied the town, waving a Bible like a weapon, convinced that the Hellfire Club and Dungeons and Dragons were responsible for the killings. Because that's what teens who play board games do, kill people.
They call themselves Hellfire.
That's bullshit! The Hellfire isn't a cult, it's a club for nerds.
By the time he found Lucas in the Creel house, his world was falling apart. Literally. Lucas tried to reason with him, but Jason wasn't listening. He was too deep in his fantasy of good versus evil.
No. Turn around. What? Turn around! Okay. Relax.
And put down your flashlight.
It's okay.
And that's when reality split open. The gate to the Upside Down burst through the floor. Jason didn't even have time to understand it. 1 second he was yelling about devils, the next he was gone. Ripped clean in half. It was gruesome, ironic, and well-deserved. Jason spent his last moments proving that ignorance can kill you just as fast as a monster. Agent Harmon wasn't a villain, which already made him stand out in Stranger Things. He was assigned to protect the Byers family in California. And for once, someone in a suit actually cared. Harmon treated Joyce, Jonathan, and Will with respect. He built trust, kept watch, and made the house feel almost safe. That was his mistake. When the hit squad showed up, it wasn't a rescue, it was an execution. They tore through the house like it was target practice. Harmon didn't panic. He drew his weapon, called for the boys to run, and started firing back. He held his ground as long as he could, buying the kids precious seconds. By the time the shooting stopped, he was still standing. But it didn't last. The kids made it out, Harmon didn't.
I shoot, you run!
He died in that house, surrounded by shell casings and silence. No medals, no mention, no news story. Just another body written off under classified. It was one of the show's few truly human deaths.
Whoa. Is that real blood, man? Drive! Okay, all right.
No monsters, no curses. Just a man doing the right thing and paying for it. Grigory wasn't just a guard. He was the Russian government's idea of subtlety. A soldier built for intimidation, sent to cover up experiments that were never supposed to exist. He followed Hopper and Joyce through every lead, eliminating anyone who got too close. The man barely spoke, probably because words take longer than bullets. He worked for the Starcourt operation, the one hiding a gateway to the Upside Down under a shopping mall. Grigory made sure no one interfered. He executed defectors, beat Hopper half to death, and still had time to look bored doing it. Every time Hopper thought he'd lost him, Grigory came back. Shot, burned, stabbed. It didn't matter. He walked it off. You start to wonder if he even felt pain. But during the final fight at Starcourt, things changed. Hopper stopped running. It wasn't a movie moment. It was two exhausted men trying to kill each other in a room full of machinery that should have been shut off months ago. In the end, Hopper shoved Grigory into the giant laser machine that kept the portal open. The gears did the rest. No slow fade, no last words. Just metal, smoke, and silence. It was poetic in the simplest way. A man who lived like a machine finished by one.
I'll see you in hell!
Heather Holloway looked like every small-town success story. Lifeguard at the local pool, bright smile, everyone's favorite coworker. She had no enemies, no drama. Just a normal teenage life in Hawkins. Which, of course, meant she was doomed. When the Mind Flayer returned, it started changing tactics. No more instant kills. Now, it wanted hosts. People it could use. Heather was one of the first. It attacked her when she was alone, dragged her into the shadows, and hollowed her out from the inside. What came back looked like Heather, sounded like Heather, but it wasn't her. She smiled, spoke politely, and helped Billy lure in new victims, including her own parents. They never stood a chance. She served drinks, offered food, and then drugged them for delivery to the creature. By the time the real Heather was gone, the fake one was already helping build the Mind Flayer's army. There was no fight, no goodbye. Just another face lost behind that perfect smile. In Hawkins, being kind, pretty, or normal doesn't save you. It just makes you easier to replace. Fred Benson wanted to be taken seriously. He worked at the Hawkins High newspaper, tagging along with Nancy on her investigations. Always eager, always trying to prove he wasn't just another kid with a notebook. He thought chasing a story would make him brave. It didn't. Fred carried a secret. A few years earlier, he caused a car accident that killed someone. No one knew. And then Fred started seeing things. The crash replayed in his mind on a loop. First, it looked like trauma. Then, the hallucinations stopped being private. His reflection spoke to him and his surroundings changed mid-step. He followed Nancy to the site of another murder, trying to focus on the story, pretending he wasn't falling apart. Fred wandered into the woods, chasing shadows that weren't there. And when Nancy called for him, he couldn't even hear her. Moments later, he was floating midair, bones snapping, eyes rolling back. I think Hawkins is the only place where people die like this so often. Benny Hammond ran a small diner on the edge of Hawkins. He was the kind of man who remembered your order, kept your coffee full, and never asked questions you didn't want to answer. The kind of person the town didn't deserve. When Eleven escaped from the lab, scared and hungry, Benny was the first person she met. He saw a child who needed food and a safe place to sit. He fed her a burger, gave her clean clothes, and tried to help.
You like that ice cream, huh? Smile looks good on you. Yep, smile.
For about 5 minutes, kindness existed in Hawkins. Then Connie Frazier showed up. She walked in pretending to be social services. Benny didn't even get to finish his sentence before she shot him. They staged it as a suicide like his compassion had turned on him. The town believed it. The audience didn't. Everyone watching knew exactly what had happened. Benny was good, and good doesn't last long in Stranger Things. For Eleven, that meal was the first act of real humanity she ever saw. And for Benny, it was his last.
You know, it's funny, your voice sounds different.
Chrissy Cunningham was the typical popular girl. Cheerleader, good grades, always smiling. But the truth lived behind closed doors. Her mother's constant criticism, her obsession with perfection, and the quiet cruelty at home turned Chrissy's life into a slow collapse.
Please just go away.
Every mirror showed her the same lie, pretty, popular, fine. But she wasn't fine. She was starving, anxious, and desperate to feel normal again. When the vision started, she thought it was stress. Her mother's voice twisted into a demonic echo, her childhood home warped into something rotten. Vecna had found her. Chrissy turned to Eddie Munson, hoping a few drugs might silence the noise. She wasn't looking for trouble, just peace for one night. In Eddie's trailer, she slipped into Vecna's trance. The room froze. Eddie called her name, but she couldn't hear him. She saw her mother, the house, and then her body started to twist. Bones cracked, eyes rolled back, and Hawkins lost its first real victim to Vecna's new game. Barb Holland was the friend everyone says they'd be, but rarely are. Loyal, honest, and unwilling to play along just to fit in. She warned Nancy about Steve, about the party, about pretending to be someone else. And she was right. While Nancy disappeared into Steve's bedroom, Barb sat alone by the pool. Awkward, bleeding from a small cut, wondering why she even came. That drop of blood was all it took for the Demogorgon to notice her. 1 minute she was calling for her best friend. The next, she was gone. Pulled into the upside down, trapped, terrified, and forgotten. Nancy didn't notice for days. The school didn't care. And the cops assumed she ran away. Barb's death was almost like a middle finger to her character. Her body decayed, left behind like garbage while everyone moved on. Her disappearance said everything about Hawkins. It doesn't matter how good you are if no one's paying attention. Fans even called it out with justice for Barb. She died the same way she lived, doing the right thing for someone who didn't deserve it. Billy Hargrove arrived in Hawkins like a storm. Fast car, loud music, permanent scowl. He was the guy parents warned their kids about. And for once, they were right. He bullied everyone, terrified Max, and made every room colder just by walking into it. Billy grew up under a father who thought control and love were the same thing. By the time he hit Hawkins, cruelty was his armor. And under that armor, there was a kid who used to love his mom before she ran away from all of it. When the Mind Flayer took control of him, it didn't need to try hard. The anger was already there. The possession turned Billy into something even he couldn't recognize. He killed for the creature, hunted his own sister, and looked unstoppable. But deep down, he was still watching, trapped inside his own body. At the Starcourt Mall, 11 reached him. She didn't fight him with power. She reminded him of his mother, of the beach, of a time he wasn't angry. It broke him, just enough. Billy stepped between 11 and the Mind Flayer. It tore through him with its tentacles, but he didn't move. For once, he wasn't a weapon. He was a shield. He died protecting the people he used to threaten. The town would never know that part, but Max did. Stranger Things is one of those shows that keeps you watching because you know someone nice is about to die horribly. If you enjoy watching good people make bad choices, stick around. There's plenty more where that came from.